Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Um, I wanted to make a video where I basically take a moment to remember my grandparents, my paternal grandparents, my father's parents. For those who don't know, yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of my grandfather's parent passing, and today is not only my brother's birthday, but also what would have been my grandmother's 100th birthday. So, yeah, I've been wanting to tell you guys my memories that I've had with my grandparents at some point on the channel, and what better way than today. Um, they were wonderful people. They were really loving, respectful, welcoming people. They were like, another set of parents, which I know is what grandparents are supposed to be. But let me tell you, from what I understand, not everyone has a great relationship with their family members. So I'm not trying to start a fire or anything, but from what I understand, that is pretty much true. But my grandparents, they helped raise me into becoming the somewhat loving, the awesome guy you see on YouTube. Um, they gave me a set of ideals that I plan to live by and remember for the rest of my life. Um, my grandmother taught me to be loving, taught me to be kind, taught me to listen. Sometimes you're better off listening than not hearing and listening. You need to listen before you speak sometimes, and need to understand things from a different perspective at times. Well, my grandfather was like that as well. He also taught me the value of leadership, optimism, patriotism, that type of stuff. But also taught me the value how to take control, how to be in charge of certain situations. Taught me, as I said, the value of leadership, strong, legitimate leadership. But also helped me develop some of my interests, like my love for sports. Like my grandfather, I became a Yankees fan. However, though, when it came to sports, when it came to NFL football, I became a Jet fan, or as some of you guys would say, a fraudulent New York Jet fan. But my grandfather wasn't one of those giant fans that love to take shot at the Jets. He wasn't like that. My grandfather was one of those giant fans I think you guys would be cool with. The real reason why I don't hate the Giants like a lot of my fellow like a lot of Jet fans do, is because not because of the team itself, but because of the type of man my grandfather was. I'll never forget after the Giants defeated the Patriots in Super Bowl 42, the way my grandfather was humble when he expressed his happiness when the Giants won the Super Bowl was great. In other words, he wasn't arrogant, he wasn't cocky, he wasn't obnoxious. And he was happy, but he was very most so impressed of how the team's resiliency, how the team showed leadership, poise throughout the season, how they went through adversity, so forth. Um, and then how my grandfather taught me the history of the Giants. The way he went on the history of the Giants. And I think he even told me he even went to a few Jet games with my dad and some of his childhood friends who also happen to be Jet fans. I think one of the Jet games he went to was the playoff game, was the wild card game against the Buffalo Bills back in 1981, where the Jets lost 31-27. So I could be wrong, but I remember my dad saying he went to a few Jet games with him and some of his childhood friends who are also Jet fans as well. So there's that. But my grandfather always taught me how important to give back to your community. He always taught me to look out for people, to always show a heart, be caring towards others, you know, and also to remember to have faith. Always important to be spiritual, maybe not just religious, but spiritual. Um, always remember, and also always remember a very important teaching: treat others the way you want to be treated. That's something I'll never forget from my grandfather. Excuse me, I want to get some water now too. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, man, my grandparents. I'd say other than my own parents, my grandparents was a huge reason, the number one reason, excuse me, why I developed the desire to find love later on in my life. Not only to find love, but to get married and start a family of my own. They were a huge reason because I loved the way my grandparents. I love. I don't know if I should say I love their chemistry, but I love their relationship. You know, I loved how my grandfather and my grandmother not only loved each other, but respected each other and how they were committed to each other. For those who don't know, my grandparents, my father's parents, were married for 68 and a half years. So, yeah, that's a long time. And, you know, that kind of rubbed me the right way. That kind of inspired me to say, you know what? When I grow up, I want to. Other, of course, I gotta get a job. I gotta find my own place to live. Obviously, I did have my own place to live. I'm still looking for a job, obviously, but I want to find love. I want to be able to find a woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I want to, not only marry her, love her, but also, have kids with her. Of course, I hope she wants to have kids too, but I want to have a family. And what inspired me to have that, I wouldn't say that dream, but that kind of desire was my grandparents, other than my parents, of course, as well. But, you know, they were a major positive influence and impact in my life. And, you know, obviously, you know, it's going to suck knowing that I have no more grandparents left, but they may be gone. But if there's one thing I'll remember, they may be gone, but they'll never be forgotten. So, that's all I really wanted to talk about. Hope you guys have a great day today, and peace out.